what's going on, everybody? This is Adam Burke from BangTheBook.com, coming to you with a look at game 371-372, Wisconsin, a 2.5-point favorite, total of 46, on the road against the Minnesota Golden Gophers, the Big Ten West Division on the line here in this one, which means a chance to take on Ohio State in Indianapolis in the Big Ten Conference Championship game next week. Over at BangTheBook.com, we got thoughts on this and every game. We'll have power ratings for the NFL for the entire weekend. We already have up the Thursday Thanksgiving games. My college football power ratings posted over there as well. Covering NBA, college basketball, and NHL on the daily. Plenty of good stuff for you to check out over there. And a lot of good stuff on Bang the Book Radio every Monday through Friday as well. You can find those segments right here on our Bang the Book YouTube page, or you can find us wherever you stream and download your podcast content. Wisconsin minus 2.5, total 46. Totals come down here in this game from 48.5 to 46. Bad weather expected in Minneapolis for this game, 2:30 Central Time kickoff. Look, you're going to get a lot of bad weather here at this time of the year, so pay close attention to the weather forecasts in both college football and the NFL, trying to find some totals value. And also in this game, I think the weather could be a really significant factor for one of these two teams, and that is Minnesota. Minnesota, a very balanced offense here. As Ralph Michaels mentioned on our Wednesday edition of Bang the Book Radio, there are two teams in college football with a 1,000-yard rusher and two 1,000-yard receivers. One is LSU. The other is Minnesota, which is an amazing statistic for the Golden Gophers. Speaks to how well Tanner Morgan has played. Speaks to how well P.J. Fleck is doing here. But you really wonder if Minnesota's going to be able to have success throwing the football in this game. Winds up in the 15 to 20 mile per hour range. A lot of rain expected during the day on Saturday up in the Twin Cities area. So those are two very worrisome developments here for a Minnesota team that I think needs to be balanced on offense. Look, they have a 1,000-yard rusher, but they're 79th in yards per carry on offense. So a lot of their rushing statistics, rather volume-based. Wisconsin, with Jonathan Taylor, they're 9th in the country in yards per carry. So in adverse weather conditions, this certainly would seem to favor the Wisconsin offense over the Minnesota offense. Minnesota 6th in yards per attempt passing, Wisconsin 39th. So these are two high-efficiency pass games. Minnesota with more of the downfield threat, but may not be able to use that downfield pass game because of the weather conditions here. And that could really make them play left-handed, so to speak, in this game. Also, you've got Wisconsin. They've been there. They've done that. Division titles in 2014, 2016, and 2017. Minnesota, they haven't won this Big Ten Conference since 1967. No division titles. They haven't even won this since they went to the division format. Does that play a role in this game? It could. I mean, Minnesota, we saw the reaction after beating Penn State, one of the biggest wins in for the program in the last 50 years. This would be the biggest by far in the last 50 years, but I don't really know how they're going to respond to this type of environment. The pressure on both teams here in this one, Wisconsin maybe a little bit better equipped, a little bit more experienced in that type of role. But with the weather factor, with the fact that Minnesota's probably not going to be able to stretch the field, probably a lot of running, and also Wisconsin's pass game is largely predicated on play action, a lot of quick throws from Jack Cohn. Those are going to be tough to complete because Minnesota is going to be flooding the box here to try and stop the run. So there's not going to be a whole lot of available room for either one of these offenses. And if they're not going to be able to throw the football because of the weather conditions, you've got to look at the under. Even though we've lost a couple of points of value here on the total based on the move down from early in the week, I would still expect a lower scoring game here in this one. Something that sort of looks like that Minnesota-Iowa game that ended 23-19. I know the weather was bad for Minnesota and Penn State as well. Maybe Minnesota does have some success throwing the football. And quite frankly, if they do, if you turn this game on and you see Minnesota having success throwing the ball, you could make a live wager on Minnesota here, because if they're able to be a multifaceted offense, it gives them the advantage here in this one against Wisconsin potentially. So maybe that's the way that you want to look. Again, I think a pregame position on the under makes sense. I think a lower scoring, bunched up environment generally favors Wisconsin's brand of football. So I do lean Wisconsin minus 2.5 here. But again, you're going to get some live betting opportunities once you get a chance to see what the field and what the conditions actually look like here for this one. But when you boil this one down, something else to keep in mind here, Wisconsin has played Michigan. Wisconsin has played Ohio State. Minnesota has not played either one of those teams. So Wisconsin's strength of schedule 24 spots higher in Sagarin than Minnesota's. So maybe their statistics a little bit truer, especially because you've got a pretty good Wisconsin defense here going up against a Minnesota offense that has played a pretty weak slate of defenses to this point. So I still like the under, largely weather-related, and I would have to look Wisconsin minus 2.5 as a full game play. But again, live betting opportunities would be very, very prevalent here in this Big Ten West Division Championship game. I'm Adam Burke for BangTheBook.com.